Hello good friends and welcome. In this video I'm going to show you how to create this beautiful header by using Angular 17, and I'm going to show you everything step by step on how you can achieve this nice looking header. And not only that, we see on how to make this responsive, so whenever we go to the smaller viewport you can see that you can go ahead and see this hamburger menu, and whenever we click on this hamburger menu you can see that the menu will come, and whenever we click on the menu it will close the self so as to be able to see the content of the next page that you will be redirected to. And you can see that this is a lot of work to do, and it is going to take work to get this done. And I'm going to provide the source code in the description. Make sure to visit my GitHub and get them. I will leave the link there, and please don't leave without pressing the star so as to be able to help me grow on my GitHub. Enough of talking, I'm going to go ahead and close everything. I'm going to first stop my server in here and close this project all at once, and I'm going to again close this, and we remain only with this bootstrap icon page. And I opened it because we need to install this npm package, and inside where I want to store my project, I'm going to go ahead and open the cmd in here. And after opening this cmd, I'm going to use the Angular CRI to create a new Angular project. I'm going to say ng new, and I'm going to call this header demo like this one, and press enter and wait. When you want to prompt you to choose the style sheet that you need to use, I'm going to stick to the normal CSS, and I'm going to go ahead and press enter. And as I'm using Angular 17, it is going to be asking me if I want to add the server-side rendering, and honestly I don't need this. I'm going to go ahead and press no and press enter, and it is going to try to create the project, and I'm going to speed this up to save time and continue with the other processes. All right, once this is now completed, I'm going to go ahead and then navigate to the folder to where our project is living, and it is in here in the header demo, and I'm going to say code and place the dot. In this case we're going to open the VS Code in here with all the starting codes, and you're going to be adding all of ours later on. And I'm going to install the package that we need. The one will be for the bootstrap, and the other will be for the bootstrap icons. We need the bootstrap to enhance our styling, and we need of course the icons to be able to add the hamburger menu and the close menu as I have shown you on the mobile version. So I'm going to go ahead first of all and open the terminal by pressing the control and this backtick, and I'm going to say npm install bootstrap, and I'm going to say latest so as to be able to get the most recent version, and wait until this is going to be installed. And once this is done, you can go ahead and copy the command for the bootstrap icons. It's kind of long, that's why I'm going to copy it from here and go ahead and paste it here and press enter. It's going to install the bootstrap icons for you, and later on we'll go into the angular.json to add the paths, but let's wait until this is complete. All right, and once this is complete, I'm going to create the screen and go into the angular.json. In here I will see where it is written architect, and I will see where the styles live. This is where they are, and I'm going to go ahead and add this. It is from node modules, and I'm going to choose the bootstrap, and I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say this CSS, and I'm going to say bootstrap .css, and make sure you write these appropriately because you don't have any type safety, as we are going to add everything by adding the string. So I'm going to say bootstrap. I'm going to add the one for bootstrap icons too, and I'm going to choose this will be font and bootstrap icons and .css. I think these are all the paths that we need for the bootstrap itself and for the icons. There is one way to test. When you go into the app and app.component.html and try to add, for example, btn and primary, to add a primary button right here, and say click me, and try to also add the icon. For example, I'm going to add the list icon, BI list, like this one, and try to run our application. We expect to see the button and the icon. If we see that, we will ensure that our packages were successfully installed. So let's give it a go and see. Whenever we see this IP address, I'm going to follow these links. You will open the browser and you can see that I'm getting this click me button and the icon too. And for this case, we ensure that our packages were installed successfully, and from now on I can close this because we no longer need it for now. I'm going to delete everything from here, and I'm going to keep the server running, but I'm going to add another terminal to create a component for the header. I'm going to say ng, and I'm going to say header, and I'm going to skip the test because I don't want to create the test file. And the reason for adding the header component is because I don't want to keep everything in today's app.component with the HTML. You can do everything here, but it is not a good practice, and I can't recommend you to perform bad practices on your application. That's why I'm going to create a separate component, and when you go ahead and press enter, it is going to create this component for us. And here we go. I'm going to go into the app.component.ts, and I'm going to register this here. As we are using the standalone component, we need to bring it here. So I'm going to say header. I'm going to import the header component. Is going to be imported here, and it's going to import these automatically. And once this is imported, you can go ahead and add the app header, like this one, and when you go back to the interface, you can see that now the header works. And after we're done separating all of this, I'm going to go into the header.components.html, and I'm going to add the required HTML so as to be able to get the header component up and running. And I'm going to delete everything here, and in HTML we have this header tag, and it is going to be the one that we're going to be using. And inside this header tag, I'm going to go ahead and add the container, and inside the container again I'm going to add the low. And as we are using Bootstrap, we are going to distribute all the 12 columns into the 1 for 3 that will hold our logo, and other 9 will hold our content for the list element. And I'm going to say that core md3, and I'm going to tag it for sm, and I'm going to give this 3, and for itself I'm going to give it 3, like this one. Okay, after we're done adding these, I'm going to add the div, and this div will contain the logo, and I'm going to give this a class of logo container, for example. And I'm going to add the image, and I'm going to add these as logo. I'm going to give this class of logo. It is not log, it is logo. Like this one, I'm going to be providing the logo so as to be able to keep up. And after we are done with these 3 first columns, I'm going to declare the other 9. I'm going to say core md9, and I'm going to say core sm9 again, and core 9, like this. And inside these, I'm going to be adding now first of all, I'm going to add the menu icon, because we need the menu icon when we reach to the mobile view or the mobile viewport. And I'm going to give this the individual div. I'm going to call this as menu icon because we will style this later on. That's why I'm going to give this as menu icon. And inside here, I'm going to provide this as for example bi list. This will bring the list that will be looking like a hamburger menu. All right, and after we are done with adding this menu icon, I'm going to add another div that will be called, for example, desktop menu. And I'm going to go ahead inside this desktop menu. I'm going to add another list, and I'm going to add the list element, and I'm going to call this as home. And I'm going to copy this multiple times so as to be able to fulfill our needs. And in here, I'm going to call this as about, and I'm going to call this I'm going to call this as courses. and lastly I need to call this as contact. All right, and after we are done with this, we can go back to the interface. We can see that I'm able to see this list. You can see this icon and the list, but we are not seeing the logo. We're going to bring these. I'm going to see where it is now saved. I'm going to paste it inside the sources, assets, and I'm going to let it live here. And I'm going to go into the source, and I'm going to say it will be in the assets, and it is called the Hano logo.png. And when you save and go back, you can see that it is now here, but it is somehow huge. We are going to fix that in a moment, but for now we ensure that our logo is now coming as the list of the elements. And in Bootstrap, when we want to bring something to the end, as we need this text to be on the right side, we can add the class for text end. So whenever we say text end here and save, you can see that now our things now are coming on the right side where we need them, but we are still having these dots that indicate that this is now the list element, and we will see on how to style that to match our need. So after we're done with all of this, it's now time to start styling our component. And when you go back into the code and you go into the header.component.css, this is where I'm going to add a bunch of CSS that will help us with the styling. And I'm going to start with the header itself. As this is now the HTML element, we don't need to access it like using the dot or the hashtag to indicate that it's an ID, but we're going to write the header, and I'm going to give this a padding of 10 pixels on the top. 10 pixels on the top, and again I'm going to give this as a background, and the background that I'm going to give it is my the background of HANA Media, and I'm going to say 02 and 53 4D like this one. Let's check if it's changed, and here we go. You can see that now the background is being applied, and we're still having this tremendous huge logo, but we're going to change this right now. I'm going to say that the logo is going to be having a width, and I'm going to give this a width of 90 pixels right here. And voila, you can see that now this is a reasonable logo for now that we can keep. Okay, and we also need to add the hover to this logo. So whenever we go ahead and hover over it, I'm going to change the cursor to the pointer one. Okay, and here we go. You can see that whenever I hover on the logo, the cursor is going to be changed, and it is going to be looking as a pointer. And you're going to style also the desktop menu itself. Oops, I'm going to delete this. I'm going to say desktop menu, and I'm going to give you this a margin top. I'm going to leave a margin to the top, and the margin top will be equal to 24 pixels. And also after this, let me go and see if this has worked. You can see that it left a bit of margin to the top, and I'm going to target the another the list. I'm going to say desktop menu, and I'm going to say another the list itself, and I'm going to give this a padding of 0, and the margin also I'm going to give this as a 0. And again, we need to start the desktop menu with the another the list and the list element. And in here, I'm going to say that list style type, we need to remove the dots, so I'm going to say none. In this case, it's going to remove all the dots that were present here. And again, we need to say that the color will be white because we need our menu to look as white. So when you go back, you can see that they are white now. And I'm going to say that the display will be inline block. So inline block like this one, and you can see it is starting to come into life. And again, we need to increase the font size because you can see that they are so small. I'm going to say font size it is going to be like 18 pixels. It's fine for me. And again, I'm going to add the margin left because you can see that for this case they are still stuck together. I'm going to add the margin left, and I'm going to give this as 26 pixels. px, and it is going to leave the space in between, and you can see that is looking nice. And again, I'm going to add the hover effect, and I'm going to say that desktop menu UR and RI hover. And when we hover, first of all, I need to increase the font size to 1. I'm going to say font size, it is going to be increased into 1 pixel. And again, I'm going to make the font weight, and I'm going to make this as bold so as to indicate that you touched on it. And again, the cursor is going to be a pointer, and the color I'm going to give this as yellow. And the transition is going to be 0.4 seconds and is in out. All right, so when you go back here and see if now this is working, whenever you hover it, you can see that it is working, except for the cursor. Let's see, cursor, I said pointer instead of writing pointer. And here we go, you can see that it is working in the expected way. And again, we can see that the menu icon is still present on the top, and we need to remove this for sure. I'm going to say that the menu icon, I'm going to remove it for now, and I'm going to say display, and it's going to be none. And in this case, we remain with something like this. Okay, and again, after we reach here, we are going to start to add the what we call media queries. We need our header to be changed whenever we reach to the smaller viewport, and that's why you're going to start to add these media queries. I'm going to say that media screen, and I'm going to say that minimum width, or the min width, where would be 128 pixel. And again, I'm going to say and max width not wide, is going to be 900 pixels. And whenever we reach at this breakpoint, we are going to do something to our desktop menu. And the first thing we need to do is to change the position. So I'm going to say desktop menu, and I'm going to say position. It is going to be fixed. And after fixing the position, we need to say that right will be equal to 0. Okay, again, I'm going to say that the top will be equal to 64 pixel, and the background again is going to be the same as the one here. I'm going to copy this and paste it here. Oops, I'm going to paste it here without deleting everything. And again, I'm going to set the width to 280 pixels, and the height I want to take the full. I need to take the full screen, so I'm going to add 100%. And let's go back and see whenever we try to inspect. And you can see that now it is going to blink whenever we reach this, and you can see that the display is going to be changed. Now we are going to target another list, and I'm going to say that desktop menu, and I'm going to say UR and RI, and I'm going to say display will be block. And after now setting this, I'm going to say that this align will be to the left, so as to look nice. This is going to be left, so let's go back and see. You can see that now they are coming to the left, and I'm going to add again the margin and the padding. So I'm going to say margin will be equal to 0, and the padding, I'm going to say that it is going to take 10 pixels, 10 pixels and 0, 10 pixels and 26 pixels, like this one. And let's go back and see the effect. You can see that now they are looking nice. And another thing that we need to add is now the align under this menu so as to indicate the separation. So I'm going to go ahead and say and I'm going to add this one. I'm going to add the border bottom, and the border bottom is going to be 1 pixel solid, and I'm going to give this as gray. And let's go back and see. Wow, we can see that now this is looking wonderful, and it is now close to the one that I showed you when we were demonstrating. I'm going to style the menu icon, and in order to style it, I'm going to remove this, and I'm going to comment this was to be able to see it on the screen, and you can see that this is it here. I'm going to say that menu icon again will be shown at this point. So I'm going to say menu icon. In this case, is going to say display is going to be block, and the color is going to be white, and I'm going to increase the font size of it because it is small. I'm going to say the font size is going to be 40 pixels. And the padding top, I need to leave a bit of space on the top. I'm going to give this as 10 pixels. And again, I'm going to uncomment this because I don't think for this time it is going to be shown, and it is being shown like this one. And this is actually what we need. And we are going now to start to deal with the techniques that will help us to set the class to the class that we need. And whenever we come back here and try to increase, for example, you can see that on this case this is being shown, and this is because the right is equal to 0. Whenever we add the negative values, for example, let me add like negative 280, you can pixels, and you can see that the menu will be not showing, we'll be having this only, and we need to set the class that will help us to do that. And by default I need to leave this, it's not going to be displayed, but whenever we add the 0 it's going to be displayed, and we're going to use that technique. So I'm going to go down here and I'm going to add what we call mobile menu, and this is now the class that will be toggling whenever we need to switch to a mobile menu. And I'm going to say that right will be equal to 0, and I'm going to add the transition, and the transition will be equal to 0.4 seconds, and is in out, like this one. And after we are done with this, we can also add the transition to here, to the let me see here, we need also to add the transition. Let me add it here. So whenever we add this crust, is going to bring back the menu that is now being hidden according to the value that we've added. So we're going to go now. We're going now to start to work with that. So I'm going to go into my header.component.html, and I'm going to say that I'm going to be adding now the class. For example, here I'm having now this as desktop menu, and I'm going to say that I'm going to add the class of mobile menu, and I'm going to set it what we call menu value. I'm going to say that class dot mobile menu is going to be given what we call menu value, and we don't have this yet, but we're going to create it. And whenever we go into now this header.component.ts, and I'm going to set this menu value as a boolean, and I'm going to set this as false as the initial value. Here it will be equal to equal. Okay, in this case, whenever we go back here, and you can see that it's not being shown, but whenever we add, for example, true, like here, is going to be shown, and this indicates that our technique is going to be working as expected. The next thing that we need to add is the logic that will help us to do this, and for that logic we need to add the click event to this button. So whenever we click on this button, it is going to do something. So I'm going to say that whenever the menu icon is being clicked, so I'm going to go back here. So whenever we click now the menu icon, I'm going to add the it on the menu icon. So I'm going to say click. I'm going to add the event, the click event here. When I click this, it's going to open the menu, and we don't have this method yet, but we're going to create it in a moment. So whenever we click this, it's going to open the menu. So I'm going to go into the header.component.ts and create that function. I'm going to say open menu, and inside here I'm going to add the parameters, and I'm going to say that this dot menu value, if now it is set, we're going to add something like a toggle. I'm going to say that it will be equal to this dot menu value, and what this will do, it is going to see that if this is true, make it false. If it is false, make it true, and we can go ahead and see if this is working. So I'm going to click here. You can see that it is coming and it is going, and you can see now we are getting the behavior that we wanted. And we need also to change this icon to match what we want. You can see that it is still remaining the same, and that's not the behavior that we want. I'm going to go back to the code, and again I'm going to declare the menu icon as we're going to be having it as dynamic. So I'm going to say that menu icon, this will be a string, and it is going to be taking the BB list as the default value. And in this case, we need to come back here into the header, and to where there is a menu icon, I'm going to give the class of the menu icon like here, because we need this to change whenever something happens. So whenever we come back here and we are done setting this, we need also to change the menu icon. So I'm going to say those menu icon, like this one, is going to be this dot. I'm going to use now the conditional parameters like this one. First will be bix, which will indicate that this is going to be a close band, or if it's not that case, it's going to be bi list, like this one. So when we go back to the interface and see if this is working, you can see that now it is working as expected. Whenever we open this and close, the icon will change too. Okay. And the other thing that we need to add, as I said, we need to cross the menu, as now we'll be selecting one value. So I'm going to add that behavior to all of these. So let me go to the template here. I'm going to add the click event to here. I'm going to say click, and I'm going to say close menu, and we're going to be creating that method in a bit. So we're going to go back and create the cross menu like this one, and inside I'm going to say this dot menu value will be equal to false, and this dot menu icon will be the default one, which is now the it is a string bi list, like this one. So let me end this like this. So when we go back here and try to choose, for example, home, you can see that it will be closed. When you choose about, it will be closed, and when you choose courses, it will be closed. And this is it. This is all we need for this video. All right, I hope you find this very interesting and you successfully implemented this menu. Let me know in the comment if you met with any problem or errors. I will be always here to help you. Make sure to like the video if you did like it, and subscribe if you come on this channel for the first time, and make sure to check the source code in the description. And from now till next time, stay cool, peace, and cheers.